Good evening, kids. What the heck? Hold on. What's going on? Oh my god. This has been an absolute disaster here. What's going on? Hold on. I'm hearing... Oh, that video that I was playing is playing again. Hold on. Jeez. Anyways, as I was saying, good evening, kids. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the stream. This is another episode of The Abyss. I am, of course, your host, The Eternal Abyss. I hope everybody's doing all right. I am so sorry for being late. Good lord, I had a lot of technical issues. I want to say hello to everybody on all the platforms that I'm on. I want to say hello to everybody on Twitch, DLive, Periscope, YouTube, and Bitwave, of course. Unfortunately, for those on Float, things didn't quite work out. I could only use one custom location here to stream to, so unfortunately, Float, you guys had to be nixed, I'm afraid. For now, I gotta try and resolve this. We're gonna try and get this working again. We're gonna try and get this technical snafu figured out. And we'll do what we can to get that all up and running. So last night, of course, was the big presidential debate, vice presidential debate, and it is hilarious. You know, I always love listening to debates, and I love listening to the post analysis of the debates, mostly because there's a lot of partisanship that happens with that. So whenever I listen to a debate, I have my first, reaction to it at the end. Just kind of go, oh, okay, this is what I heard. This is what happened. There's a couple things that were said. I'm not sure exactly on the fact, like the fact checking on it, if it's really true what they said or it's really false what they said. So it's always fun to see, kind of compare your first reaction to the end of the debate to like 24 hours later or a couple days later. Yeah, it was hilarious because everybody has been pretty much pointing out every single freaking lie that Kamala Harris said. And ooh, excuse me, just adjusting my laptop here, making squeaky sounds. Squeaky. So it's hilarious to me that nearly everything that Kamala Harris said was essentially a lie or a dodge, or like not really, like a little kind of twisting the truth. For example, one of the big ones was, of course, a very nice people hoax that has been debunked over and over again. The fact that Donald Trump didn't denounce white supremacy and white supremacists. He has done so on many an occasion, especially at the very fine people hoax video. You just watch the entire video. Right after he says there were fine people on both sides, he specifically addresses, I am not talking about white supremacist groups like the KKK and blah blah blah. He goes through that explicitly. Yet people like Joe Biden and people like Kamala Harris keep lying through their teeth. It's really frustrating because people like, a moderator should say, excuse me, Miss Harris, you're absolutely wrong on that one. We have video to show that you're absolutely wrong. Why do you keep perpetuating that hoax? A reporter worth their salt and a moderator worth their salt would ask her a question like that. And it's not even debating. This isn't even a matter of, I don't know if I agree with you on that statement, or, why. It's just a matter of, no, that's factually incorrect. It has been debunked over and over again. But nobody puts these people to task. That's the problem. Nobody does that. So there's all this speculation now about what's going to happen with the second debate, and there was a lot of discussion that happened today about that too, the second presidential debate. And the doctor said that Trump's fine; he'd be able to participate. Biden is trying to puss out, saying that he's not going to participate and that they're going to do a virtual town hall kind of thing, which is absolute crap. There is no way there should be any sort of virtual debate when it comes to Joe Biden. In interviews, there's pretty much evidence. You can see in reflections of stuff that he's holding up. You can see it when he's moving his hand, saying to scroll the thing. He's read words off teleprompters, like line items that he shouldn't be reading. He says it. He also said, "Oh, I missed that line," while he's doing an interview. The guy has had help. Okay, let's just be honest here. This isn't conspiracy. The guy has said it himself that he missed a line. He said it himself that, he's read the line item that he wasn't supposed to read out loud. The guy's received help in one form or another. Let's face it. So, and he appeared to be wired for the damn debate. The first debate, he appeared to be wired. So, was he wired? I don't know for sure. All I can say is it's very weird that he would have like this thing coming out of his wrist. He had this wire coming out of his jacket. Very, very weird. So, no, there should be nothing virtual when it comes to Joe Biden debating Trump. And the fact that Joe Biden is trying to use this is why people become conspiratorial. This is why people become conspiratorial when you see for the longest time Democrats trying to puss out of debates, saying Biden doesn't need to do that. We don't need to legitimize Trump in debating him. We don't need to do that. You have Vox, BuzzFeed, and all these very lefty publications saying, "Oh, debates are useless. We don't need to do a debate." Nobody was saying that about the vice presidential debate until afterwards, when Pence basically destroyed Kamala Harris, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, vice presidential debates don't really matter. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it doesn't matter. If it was the other way around, that your candidate would have been basically on fire and done an amazing job, I don't think you would have been saying that. Just a hunch. Just throwing that out there, I don't believe for 1 second, all right? I don't believe for 1 second that people on the left would say, oh, it's not important, if it was Kamala Harris who was on top last night. But obviously, she was not. She was eviscerated. It was a bloodbath. So This is why, again, people get conspiratorial, because you have people pushing for non-debates. You have very odd timing when Trump and people around him get COVID. You have then the use of that by people on the left that want to use that as an excuse to get out of debates. Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't know if there's anything to any theories that I've heard online about why and how and the reasoning and the timing of Trump and other people getting COVID. Whatever. I don't want to delve in that. I'm not saying there's a plot. I'm not saying there's a coup. I'm not saying there's all this crazy stuff. However, when you look at also what happened with the Russia hoax, and that Obama knew, the Obama administration knew, Biden knew, he was involved in this as well. How he can still be a valid candidate after that is anyone's guess. Yet somehow he is. You have the weaponization of the FBI. You have an impeachment that was based on absolute bullcrap. It's just all these little things, adding them together, little by little, by little by little. You're turning a small bit of crumbs and a little bit of dust, you're turning it into a beach of sand, basically. You're turning a little sandbox of all these little things put together, the sandbox suddenly becomes the Sahara Desert. It does make you wonder. Hey, Soldot, welcome to the stream. So that's the thing. Like I said, I'm not accusing anybody. I don't know if there was any sort of conspiracy to infect Trump or not. I'm not even gonna put a like any sort of declaration, or I'm not gonna prognosticate on that. I'm not gonna say anything about it. All I'm gonna say is, can you blame people for being conspiratorial? Can you really blame people? I can't blame people for being that way and thinking that way, because hell, well, if you look at all that happened during this entire presidency, and how absolutely unhinged the left has been on Capitol Hill, in the media, in social media, how unhinged the tech companies have been that are led by incredibly leftist people like Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, by Jack Dorsey. So, I mean, you can't help but wonder. And that's all I'm going to do is just wonder at this point. I'm not going to say, like I said, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say that there's any sort of real conspiracy. I'm not going to say that there's anything intentional and whatever. But it's just, it does make you think. And it makes you wonder. And I don't blame these people for saying the timing is very strange. The people that are being infected is very strange. It seems odd, and I don't believe in coincidences as well. So take it as you will. Take the information as you like, and everybody has to draw their own conclusions when it comes to that sort of thing. I just don't want to be irresponsible and say, "Oh, there's definitely conspiracy going. Oh, there's definitely something going on. Oh, he definitely got infected on purpose." No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. All I'm going to say is, I don't believe in coincidences. It seems quite apropos. Oh, 3 journalists were tested positive too, and one was with the New York Times, and they got people sick too. Wow. Okay, but yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's easy to think that way because also the media is very much trumping up, no pun intended, but they're very much trumping up the fact that Trump and Republicans got COVID. They may be playing down the fact that there are Democrats and liberals that got it too. They may just be playing it down and not talking about it, so it makes people more conspiratorial, and that says, "Hey, Neomorph, how you doing?" Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's why I'm saying I don't necessarily believe that there's a conspiracy here. I don't think that he was infected on purpose. I think though, just the way things are expressed in the news, how they're reported on in the news, and everything that you've heard and seen can make people think that way. I'm doing pretty good, Neomorph. Thank you, sir. I started late, unfortunately, here on the stream because I was running into some technical difficulties, unfortunately. So we're up and running for the most part now. Unfortunately, one of the places that I'm streaming to didn't quite work out. So it is what it is, unfortunately. But yeah. Anyways, did you hear about this other news item though? Speaking of, what we're gonna talk. Actually, before I go into that, we'll talk about more about what's happening with the debates. So, Trump pretty much said no way to a virtual debate. He says, "Don't be ridiculous. This is a joke." Because what happened then was for the second presidential debate, Biden pushed out and was saying he wasn't going to do a face-to-face. Trump's doctors were saying there's nothing wrong with him. He can do a debate face-to-face. And instead, the Committee for Presidential Debates unilaterally decided, you know what, we're going to do a virtual event. And Trump's like, no, we're not. I'm not going to participate in that. So what did the Commission for Presidential Debates do? They said, oh, okay, you don't want to participate? We'll just do a town hall and get people's questions then for Biden. So they were going to forfeit a presidential debate turn it into a Q&A town hall just for Biden, moderated by someone who was an intern for Biden. Did you get all that? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's when someone like in the background, like Bernie Sanders, would be going like, "Son of a bitch! Why wouldn't they do that for me?" You know? They bend over backwards for Biden. It's insane. It's so ridiculous. Oh yeah, I saw that from Ben Shapiro. Yeah, I'll talk about that too, because there's been this whole thing about mansplaining that's been thrown out there. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So what's going on is so yeah, Trump said, yeah, screw you. Biden was just, he's going along with it, of course, because it benefits him. Obviously, it benefits him. He's gonna be like, yeah, frick yeah, I'm gonna have my own town hall, virtual question. I don't have to be pummeled by Trump like I was in the first debate. Score, that was great for him. Why not? But then, because of this whole, gobbledygook and everything, it seems like what's happening now is this, that instead, the Committee for Presidential Debates decided we're just going to postpone the debate. We're going to have a live debate, a town hall format. They're going to postpone it, and then they're going to push the third debate a little more forward as well. So that's what basically is the solution. Is just pushing things a little forward now, and things are gonna go on as planned, just at different dates. So it seems like things are back on track to have a regular debate again. So I don't think there's gonna be a debate now next week. I think it's gonna be pushed a week later. And I gotta see why there's so much. I hear a lot of background noise here. Let me check my microphone settings just for a second, because I thought I had my filters on. Yeah, I do. Why is this so terrible sounding? Hello. That sound okay? I think I may have overdone it. Okay. I can see the levels again. Whew, I filtered out a little bit too much. A little bit too much. All right. Yes, I read about that too. I was going to talk about that as well. So you have this ridiculous plan by Pelosi to try and use the 25th Amendment to declare Trump unfit to serve, because the 25th Amendment, for those that aren't familiar with it, is basically an amendment that allows for Congress to forcibly remove the president if he is mentally unfit. Like if he all of a sudden develops dementia or gets brain damage or something. I don't know. If there is some problem with the president that he is he's unable to serve, that's where the 25th Amendment comes in. And this was put in place because you can have an opportunity, not an opportunity, you can have a situation where the leader of your country suddenly, loses his marbles. And if that's the case, there has to be a provision in there that the government can not have a mad leader at the helm here. So it makes sense. I understand the reasoning behind it. But the thing is, this is not the scenario where you would use something like this, because if you're just going to use it to try and weaponize the 25th Amendment because you don't like the president, that this is going to be another impeachment bullcrap thing. So, uh, ooh, I didn't see that there was this article here for something. Hold up. Let's see here. Sorry, I just want to check something out. Individuals participating in a vigil placed large cutout letters in the grass saying Big Gretch and handed out Biden Harris presidential campaign yard signs to attendees. Huh. Interesting. So there's a lot of news about Michigan actually as well. We'll talk about that in a moment. Sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked here. No, but going back to the 25th Amendment, this is going to blow up in their face. Impeachment did not pull well for them. It did not look well for them at all. It may be, well, it's definitely political, Soldat. It's definitely political. I mean, the only reason why Pelosi would pull something like this is it's definitely political theater. Because she wants to make it out that he's an impeached president, he's an unfit president. She's been talking about him being not a legitimate president for a long time. This is all political theater, and if it plays well into her hands to try and delay Barrett's nomination or hearing or the vote, yeah, I'm sure that's a ploy for her to do that. But the thing is, it's not up to her. The Senate has to decide on that, and the Senate can put aside any bull crap that she tries to pull. And that's that. I mean, there's not going to be much that she can do, in all honesty. It's all political theater. It's definitely political theater. She's using this to try and hurt Trump, hurt his campaign, and she's also trying, I'm sure, she's also trying to do this to hurt the whole process for getting Barrett onto the Supreme Court. It wouldn't surprise me in the least, because that's the kind of That's the kind of person Pelosi is. She is a very petty and a very unscrupulous, unethical individual. She has no qualms abusing power, her position, and using the rules and the Constitution as a bludgeoning tool. Yeah, essentially, McConnell could just tell her to pound sand. Exactly, troll TKST. That's essentially what McConnell is going to do, and he should. McConnell should. I don't see any reason why McConnell should even entertain this. He should just laugh her off and say, this is just, it's Pelosi. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the lemon. Sorry, 1 second. Let me get that up here. Yeah, amazing music. Thank you so much for the lemon. Much appreciated. Sorry, I keep having my sound muted so you didn't hear that, but there it was. We had only one. They're getting upset. Their usual bending of the rules aren't working, so now they're actively breaking them. They need to hang. Yeah, well, definitely not the FBI. That's why I say the Democrats are playing Calvin ball. That's what they're doing. The Democrats don't like the rules. They want to change them. They don't like the fact that the 9 justices are going to have a conservative majority. They want to pack the courts. Biden won't even answer the question. He says, "You'll find out once I get elected." No. You already played that card. Pelosi already played that card with, "You'll find out what's in the bill once we pass it." Bull. Absolute bull. That's not how you govern. That's not how you tell people what you stand for as a candidate. You have to go out there as a candidate and say, "You know what? Vote for me because this is what I'm going to do for you. This is what I stand for. These are my principles or lack thereof. And people have to make their choice. It's a matter of being an honest individual. It's a matter of being an honorable person. There used to be this thing called honor. And there used to be this thing called being a man of your word. Yeah, and exactly, Neomorph. Exactly, Neomorph. They say that Trump is tyrannical and a threat to democracy. When they want to shred the Constitution, they want to shred the Electoral College, they want to shred everything that just happens to not go their way. They want to get rid of the filibuster, for example, in the legislature. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Well, you think Trump should back the court? Well, the thing is this, if Trump did that, then I think by the time, the next election comes around in 2024, we're going to have just after a couple administrations, we're going to have like the Supreme Court justices, when they take the picture, we're going to have like a whole football team. It's going to be ridiculous. We're going to have those regiment pictures where people are part of the regiments in the military and you have like 50, 30, 50, 60, 70 people all in a picture. That's what it's going to end up as. Yeah, it is amazing to me, Troll 1Q1Y, like how they're just not hiding it anymore. They used to lie about a lot of stuff, and not just Democrats. This is a politics thing. This is a elite ruling class thing versus the people. The elite ruling class, which was the media and politicians, basically told you what you had to think and what you had to do. Now people are telling them to go fuck themselves, frankly. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh well, okay, let's just that veneer of objectivity and that veneer of we respect the people's will. Screw that. That's out the window now. Oh gosh, this is the thing. This election, I never like to say. I don't like to say that this is a life or death election. I don't like to say that this election is so crucial that it would actually literally decide the fate of this country. I'm not the kind of person that wants to say that kind of thing because there's a lot of people that have said that over and over and over again. But there is one thing to be said about this election. And it should be a lesson to everybody if you saw what happened during the Obama years. Because what happened with the Obama years was a grave, grave degradation of the rules. Thanks to Harry Reid. That was the first step. You also had a president who legislated from the executive branch. He admitted himself that what he did was unconstitutional. And you had a judiciary that went ahead and said, screw it, I don't care. We're going to keep this law even though it's not constitutional. On top of that, you had the weaponization of the FBI, the CIA. You had a candidate that was spied on while the administration was well aware of it. And you had a Russian hoax that Brennan of the CIA, Hillary concocted it and approved it. You had the Obama administration, Obama, Biden, everybody involved. They all knew. And do you think Pelosi didn't know? Pelosi knew as well, I'm sure. I mean, the stuff that happened in that previous administration is hair-raising. And the fact that everything that's been going on, they don't like it, and they've been trying to change the rules and abuse the rules, should open everyone's eyes. Let that be a lesson to you. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're a liberal. I don't care if you're an independent. I don't care if you're libertarian, if you're Green Party. It doesn't matter. What I think matters is that if you look at the abuse that has been done in our government by both parties and by unaccountable government officials in all the different organizations, IRS, FBI, CIA. It is very eye-opening to the sheer level of corruption that actually exists in our government. This is no better than a banana republic. And what we need now is not the same people that created that banana republic. We do not need a Biden in the office, in the Oval Office, because he was part of that banana republic. We don't need a Pelosi in the House because she was part of that banana republic. We don't need a Kamala Harris in the White House. She was part of that banana republic. We don't need any Clintons in there. We don't need any Obamas. This right here is why I say that the Democrats are a domestic terrorist group. And I know some people think that may be harsh to say, but they are a true and present danger to our democracy. They truly, truly are. Soldat is asking me, I think Trump will actually follow up with declassifications of documents? Yeah, Ray needs to be fired as well. He already started with some declassification, and I think that during his second term, because he doesn't have to worry about re-election, he may do way more. Because one thing that he's been talking about and hinting at for quite a while is the fact that he has a lot of dirt on these people. There's a lot of information, and he even pointed it out during the debate that he has stuff on Biden directly. So I do think that Trump may start doing more and more declassification. There's even talk about him pardoning Assange, I had heard. I think that he should declassify certain things. I think he should. I definitely think that before the election, if he does have indeed dirt on Biden, he should put it out there for people to know. People have a right to know. Yeah, it's his own October surprise. That's right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's beneficial to the American people to have transparency and to see the level of corruption that's in our government. And if people are running right now that are involved in that level of corruption, people need to know. People need to know. This whole political elite crime syndicate that's been going on for a long time. And again, like I said, this isn't even just a Democrat thing. This is an elite thing. This is Republicans and Democrats have been working together for a long time, putting on a dog and pony show for the American people. And at the end of the day, they're all in the pig slop getting all the good benefits while the American people are suffering. Oh, this was a coup. This was an absolute coup. Hey, Troll ZZZ. No, I usually do a nightly stream on Thursdays. Yesterday was an exception because we had a special stream because of the debate. So I don't do morning streams on Thursday. Friday, tomorrow, we're going to do a morning stream. So get your coffees ready for that. Well, that is a good point. Definitely not the FBI. They're definitely running out of ammo. They've tried everything. They have tried everything, and nothing has been able to stop not only Trump, but this movement that has been happening in this country. They have seen that their grip on power is slipping. That's the thing. They see their power. Yeah, in a way it kind of is. But the problem is that they see their power slipping from their hands, and this is desperation. This is desperation on the part of these government officials. This is desperation on the part of the Democrats. This is desperation on the part of some Republicans as well. This is desperation of elites seeing the people rise, and they're seeing that their future prospects are not looking good. My biggest fear, honestly, my biggest fear and concern is not so much with Trump. My biggest fear and concern is what happens after Trump. I think it should hurt everybody that it hurts. I mean, if declassification is going to really clean up the government and drain the swamp as Trump promised he would do, then so be it. I don't care if it hurts Rubio. I don't care if it hurts Republicans. I don't care if it hurts Democrats. I think that the American people deserve to know what level of absolute corruption and garbage has been going on in their government. I think people have a right to know. It's not right that they keep stealing our tax money, and then all they're going to do is act corrupt, and all they're going to do is profit themselves, and all they're going to do is put patsies in the government to do their bidding. Oh, TKST. That would be hilarious if you tried to do that. Everybody's head would explode on the left if Trump did an executive order that gives himself a third term. That would be the funniest thing I have ever seen if Trump did that. He should just do it as a joke at the end, like his very last day as president. He's like, I'm gonna give myself a third term. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. Yeah, I'm kind of afraid that's what's gonna happen. Definitely not the FBI. I'm afraid that once Trump goes, everything will just kind of boomerang back. It's kind of like a rubber band. You pull it, it's being pulled right now, and then that rubber band's gonna be let go, and it's gonna snap back to the way things were. Yeah, holy cow, you're right, sold out. Rubio was briefed on anything being on the Gang of Eight, so he should know. I don't think Romney's gonna come back in that sense, but I think you are gonna get. I think that if you don't have a candidate that can pick up the populist movement torch, it's gonna be basically when Trump's presidency ends. That's gonna be the end of it. I mean, that's kind of what happened with Bush. Well, there is, and TKST, you do raise an interesting point there. There is something to be said now that a lot of the Republicans actually agree with Trump, and Trump has pretty much remade the party, so to speak. And all the rhinos are clearly not really Republicans, and all the people that are anti-Trump are clearly not really conservative. It was all a show. It was all fake. These people were not conservatives. These people were not Republicans. Uh, the McCains and Romneys of the world basically have no party now. So this is kind of like what happened with the Whig Party, actually. Like when the Whig Party died back in the day and a new party emerged, which was the Republican Party. Um, a lot of the people that were in the Whig Party did move into the new party, but the party was renewed. It was different. It was no longer the Whig Party, and it had a whole new identity. So you have to have people. You have to have people that will carry on that torch. That's the biggest problem. Now that's going to happen once Trump, reaches the end of his presidency. Oh, that's very interesting. So it's not too different. Thanks, Cocaine Mitch, for sending that over. He gave me a tweet that talks about the RCP battlegrounds. It does a comparison between October 8th, 2016 versus 2020 between Clinton and Biden, and there really isn't a huge difference. Like in 2016, Clinton was up by 9 points in Pennsylvania, Biden's up 7.1. Clinton was up in Florida 2.4 points, and Biden now is 3.7. Clinton then +7 in Michigan, plus 6.7 in Michigan 2020. All of them are pretty much in line. So if the enthusiasm, and there's a follow-up tweet there that pretty much was going to say what I said, that the enthusiasm for Biden is not the same enthusiasm that you have for Clinton. You actually did have more enthusiasm for her. And if the numbers are nearly exactly the same, and they're not off by a whole lot, like there's plenty of margin of error there in terms of numbers. I think that a lot of those polls are the same bullshit that they said before with Clinton. Wow. Hawley? I don't know if Hawley is the why would you say that's interesting, Cocaine Mitch? Why would you say Hawley is the future of the Republicans? That's an interesting point of view. Well, I think what's gonna happen is that since there's so much more enthusiasm for Trump than there is for Biden, even if those numbers are coming out the way you just showed in that tweet, I don't think that's a reflection of reality. Honestly, conservative populism is definitely the future. Started with the Tea Party, and Trump is the culmination of that. And I think now it's a matter of keep pushing that forward. So I think that's definitely in the future of the Republican Party for sure. Like people like Kristi Noem, for example, and very popular Kristi Noem, and she's the kind of conservative populist person that people can get behind. So I think that she, for example, is a very good torchbearer for that kind of populist conservative Republican. But speaking of governors, and speaking of look at that professional segue, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that populist conservative Republicans, it already start like I said, it started with the Tea Party. I think that as that platform develops, I do think that that's going to be the future of the Republican Party. If the Republicans are smart, that's going to keep them in office and keep them in power for quite a while. So it would be smart of them. It would behoove them to very much stay on that message. But speaking of governors, if the Republicans are smart, I know, Mitch. I know. I'm asking a lot. I know. So what's going on with governors here? Apparently, there was a plot, and I have this in the title of my stream because it's something I absolutely had to talk about, that Governor Whitmer of Michigan, there was a plot to kidnap her. I shouldn't be laughing at this. It's not funny in the sense that kidnapping is not funny, okay? Let me be clear. Don't kidnap. I don't encourage kidnapping. It's not a good thing. Kidnapping is a very bad thing, okay? Very bad thing. But there was a plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer by this group of anarchists. The plan had a trap door. I know. I know. That's why it's funny to me. It's like the way this was plotted. That's what makes me laugh about it. So this group of anarchists wanted to kidnap her. They wanted to take her to some other state. Um, yeah, they're anarchists. These weren't like conservatives. These weren't like conservatives that had a beef with Whitmer, okay? These were people that were anti-government to begin with, all right? They had an issue with government, period. They are anti-police. Yeah, these are not conservatives. You know, some people may wanna do that. May want to try to do that connection, but that's just not the case. Okay. He also the guy, the ringleader. His name is Brandon Kazurta. Man, what's that? What's the matter with these Italians? There's a bunch of Italians that are making Italians look really bad. Anyways, moving on. Um, this guy says that Trump's a tyrant. He hates Trump. So this isn't a conservative thing, it's an anarchist thing. And for those that apparently need some explanation, anarchists are people who hate government, period. They don't want government. Okay? So they wanted to kidnap her, take her to another state, and they wanted to put her on, quote, trial for her crimes. Now, as I said, I don't. Well, the last name is Italian. Caserta is Italian. I can promise you that. It's an Italian last name. Quote Italians. Trump cookies? What? Trump cookies? What with the what now? Wait, who's this? Who are these people? There's a cookie poll. Oh my goodness. So this bakery did Trump cookies and Biden cookies, and the Trump cookies are selling out more so than the Biden ones. Oh. 75% of the cookies go to Trump, 25% of the cookies go to Biden. Uh-oh. See, now that's a poll I can get behind. That is definitely a poll I can get behind. I like that. I like that. See, that's just, why can't we have fun with politics? See, that's a fun thing to do. You buy cookies to show which candidate you support. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Holy crap, you know, I may order some myself. That's awesome. But the question is this, though. Are they good cookies, though? $70 for a dozen cookies? Are you kidding me? They can't be that expensive. Go to Biden campaign and ask for money to buy his cookies. Can I do that and then buy Trump cookies with it? Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that I'm talking about. So I think the polls are all bull, or they're all bull like last year. I wouldn't pay attention to the polls at all. Don't pay attention to the polls. Don't pay attention at all, because it's obvious that the polls are not reflecting reality. You have such a huge surge of Republican registrations in different states, like Pennsylvania, like Florida. You have a huge surge in all these states. Yeah, the polls don't reflect that. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense, and statistically, it doesn't make sense. But going back to the kidnapping thing, we got sidetracked by Trump cookies. No, what basically happened here was that this whole thing, they told her, actually. My understanding is that she was aware of these plots, and instead of trying to kind of tone down her rhetoric to kind of calm the waters a little bit, what does Whitmer do? She throws gasoline on the fire. Yeah, Mitch, dang you, you're distracting me. I virtually shake my fist. No, I'm kidding. It's all right. It's all right. Um, so that's the thing that kind of surprises me more than anything. It's not so much when it comes to politics. One thing that everybody needs to know and understand is you're never going to please everybody. You're never going to please everybody in politics. So it doesn't surprise me that you're going to have some people that are going to be malcontents. They're going to be, disgruntled. Especially if you're anarchist. If you're anarchist, any form of government isn't something that you hate, period. It's not like there's one form of government that they like over another. If you're an anarchist, you just don't like government, period. So it's not surprising to me that you have these people that are like that. Especially encouraged when you're encouraged by people like Antifa and BLM that are committing violence in the name of politics. They're committing violence in the name of their personal political agendas. So it doesn't surprise me that this encourages people like this anarchist who wanted to kidnap Whitmer, and I don't know what else he wanted to do besides put her on trial. But I don't think that people on the left should be encouraging this sort of behavior. And some people would claim, that Trump's rhetoric is also equally responsible for this sort of thing. And you know what? Okay, let me put an olive branch out there. I'll put an olive branch out there to people on the left and say, you know what? There are things that I don't agree with how Trump speaks and certain things that he says. But there is a difference between saying something and there is a difference between acting. When you have people that are Antifa and BLM that are setting places on fire, hitting people with bike locks on the head and actually murdering people, okay? And the left, Democrats, don't condemn it until the polls say, hey, psst, Democrats, cities getting entirely burnt down, people dying, taking out the local 7-Eleven or the CVS. It's not really working for you guys. Oh, yeah, tomorrow sold out. Tomorrow he's going to do a rally on Rush. For 3 hours, I think he's going to be on for 3 hours with Rush Limbaugh, and he's gonna do a virtual rally on the radio that way. And he's going to take calls. It's going to be interesting, apparently. But going back to what I was saying is, I can provide an olive branch and say I don't agree with how certain things are said and certain words are used and certain tones that are used. Okay, but if you want to tell me that Trump's words has a much greater influence on someone's behavior than seeing blue-run states and cities burn and seeing violence on the streets, and you have mayors and governors that are not doing anything to protect them, do you really, really, really want to tell me that Trump's words has a greater influence than all the violence that we've seen and that is still going on in Portland, for example? Do you really want to make that claim? I don't think you want to make that claim. And like I said, I can agree that maybe there are certain things that Trump should say in a different way, and maybe there's a different tone that he can strike. I can even agree with you and meet you halfway on that one. But by all means, you have to meet me halfway and say, you know what? Burning down the CVS probably isn't a good optic, isn't a good message to put forth. And it's not really good that Biden won't even condemn Antifa, won't even acknowledge their existence, will not even acknowledge their existence. Come on. It's not even in the same ballpark. This isn't the same stadium anymore. They're not even playing the same sports at that point. So, for the record, again, I don't condone this sort of behavior of wanting to kidnap people, wanting to commit violent acts, any violence against politicians. No. people need to, if you want to remove someone from being a governor, vote them out or vote people in that will impeach them and legitimately impeach them, not just do stupid fake crap like Pelosi did. If this governor, like let's say Governor Whitmer, because we're talking about her, if she did indeed break the law, then the people of Michigan and the state's legislature have every right to remove her because she has abused her power. She no longer should hold that power and authority. If she is not going to, if all she's going to do is abuse her power. And guess what? The Supreme Court already said she did. The Supreme Court of Michigan already said she did. Between the April and now, all of her executive orders were deemed unconstitutional according to the state of Michigan. So, that goes to show you that, you know, she hasn't really been playing ball now, has she? She hasn't been playing by the rules. And I'm not saying this to say, you know, blame the victim here. I'm not saying this to say that she deserved that sort of plot against her or that she encouraged it or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Not at all. All I'm saying is, if you're informed about this sort of thing and you know you're being incendiary and you know that a lot of people are unhappy with you and you know that a lot of people don't like what you're doing and you know that you're breaking the law, because obviously she did. She wouldn't do it if she didn't know it. Then you're kind of putting yourself on that path where you're going to create a lot of anger and resentment in people. And again, that doesn't justify anything. Again, people should not do this stuff. People should not make these plots. People should not don't commit violence, kidnapping, anything. That's bad. Very, very, very bad. But as a governor and as a leader of a state and as just a reasonable adult and someone who's supposed to have at least average intelligence, you should know better. You should know better. It's like if I go to, speaking of Michigan, it's like if I go to downtown Detroit at 3 a.m. and then I get stabbed and mugged and I'm like, gee, how did that happen? Are you really surprised? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is if you put yourself in a greater perilous situation, politically, physically, or what have you, you can't tell me then all of a sudden you're shocked. You're shocked that something like this may happen. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean that it should be done. It doesn't mean, like I said, it's very bad what these people were doing, and I don't wish that on Governor Whitmer. As much as I don't like her, I do not wish her harm. I don't wish anybody harm. I don't want Whitmer to be harmed. But as a reasonable adult here that I am, and as a reasonable adult as anybody else is, and people that have a certain level of reasonable thought, then you got to say, why open up a can of worms for yourself? It's not difficult to follow the oath that you took if you take an oath of office. It's not difficult to follow the laws of the state that you govern if you are a governor. They're there. Read them. If you don't know what the laws are, consult with someone. If you want to help people because you're claiming you're trying to help people with your executive orders and all this kind of stuff, why don't you work with people on all sides to try and find a balance that works with everybody? This isn't rocket science here, which is maybe why she's a politician. But I can't tell her to be responsible. Yeah, what was I thinking, you know? Yeah, that's the thing. Like all these moderators, I just saw this tweet that was posted on Bitwave regarding the moderator. Yeah. Well, I think the problem is, Zani, you do touch upon something very interesting there when you say that we're all too different, too many different people trying to work together. There is something to be said about like Norway, for example. If you take Norway or you take Italy up until recently, you take other countries, there was a lot of homogeny. And when you have a shared culture, when you have a shared history and a shared background, it is easier to work together with people because there's a lot more commonality. It's like if you're dating someone. If you're going out on a date and you want to marry someone eventually, the whole concept of opposites attract is kind of nonsense. It's more that people who share a lot of common traits and a lot of common beliefs generally function better together. So I think that because there is a lot of diversity that we have in the United States, and that isn't inherently good, it isn't inherently evil. It is a challenge. It is a challenge to overcome because some people don't embrace American culture. Some people do not embrace American history. You have a lot of people whose whole purpose and goal in life is to vilify the United States and vilify its history and vilify its people and vilify its beliefs and its principles and its values. And that's a bad thing, in my opinion. I think that if you come to the United States, you should embrace American culture. You should embrace its history for good or bad. You should embrace its culture for good or bad and its values for good or bad. That doesn't mean you have to discard everything of your own personal beliefs or morality or anything like that. But you can't live in a country as an island upon yourself. It just doesn't work. There has to be some level of assimilation, yes. I mean, we're not the Borg here. We're not like, if you go into the United States, it's not like you have drones coming up to you saying, "We are the Borg. Your technological and biological distinctiveness will be added to our own. Resistance is futile." That's not gonna happen. But there has to be a certain embracing of what it means to be American. Because if you come to this country and all you do is hate it, you're doing a disservice, first of all, to yourself. Because there are some really fun and cool things about America. There's some really nice things about America. The innovation, the kind of that American never say die spirit, the ingenuity of Americans. Well, and that's the problem, definitely not the FBI. You have people that come in and they come in for various reasons. Some is just they come in because they want the milk and honey, and that's all they care about, and they don't give a rat's ass about other people, the culture, the values. That's it. You also have people that I'm sure that there are governments that are trying to destabilize the United States because it's been a superpower for a very long time, and they don't like that. I don't think it's too late, Zani. I don't think it's too late because the younger generation, Zoomers, um, Gen Z and such, they are actually turning out to be more conservative than their previous generations. Like people that are around like I don't know about Gen X, but after Gen X or so, like that kind of the people that are essentially that were born in like the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, the people that were born around that period are the ones that are mostly radicalized. And then you have in nowadays you have all these young generations that are very very radicalized, but you also have a lot that are turning much more conservative. Well, definitely not the FBI. If I can find it, I'll provide a link to a video by Steven Crowder because he actually talks into great detail about it, like the statistics, and he shows links. He has reference material that you could look at. But it seems to be true, and the thing is, like one clear example of this that I can give you is the fact that as time has passed since Roe versus Wade, the number of people who think abortion is acceptable has been in a decline ever since. Overall, today, there are less people that think that abortion is a good thing and should be legal versus when Roe versus Wade was passed. So, generation upon generation are viewing that particular issue in a certain light, which it's had a conservative trend for decades upon decades. So that's one indication of how future generations, like our younger generations, are actually more conservative. Now, does that mean they are the same kind of conservative that like I am? I don't know. Yeah, younger people, there are some based younger people, and I think that it's a long game. It's a very long game. It's not going to end with this generation. I think as generations and other generations are coming, you'll see more of this sort of thing because conservatism is now, and it has been for at least a couple decades, really really focused on the fact that it's about truth. It's about facts. It's not about emotion. It's about science and math and reality. It's about not a person's perceived view of the world, but the world for what it is. And I think that's appealing to people. I think that is appealing to people, and I don't care what political spectrum you're on. When someone comes to you and says, you know, this is my belief because I base my beliefs on the math, the science, the facts, the truth. And you have another side that does nothing but make up stuff or skew things, or they want to rewrite reality because they want it to fit their narrative. I don't think it matters what side of the political spectrum you're on to a certain extent, because at a certain extent, when politics affects you, and when politics comes knocking at your door and says, do you want other people to control your lives based on whatever their perceived view of the world is? Or do you want to be in control of your own life? That whole manifest destiny thing. Do you want to be at the helm of your destiny and of your life? And do you want to be in control? Or do you want to hand that control over to people who need a safe space? Do you want to hand over control of your life to people who, at the mere mention of an individual like Trump, for example, are, quote, literally shaking because they cannot control their emotions? Is that really who you want in charge? Do you want someone in charge who would rather set your business on fire and wants you to give up your property and hard-earned money and everything that you've done because they think they're entitled to it, but they don't want to put the work in for it? Or would you rather someone say, you know what, that house that you worked to pay for, that's yours. Your life, you should be able to defend yourself. You should be able to defend your children and your spouse. That car that you have in the garage, you should be able to drive that without someone pulling you out and punching you in the face. It's a compelling message, I think. I think it's a compelling message to provide this sort of emancipation, this independence, saying, you're in charge of your life. I trust you to make decisions about your life. I trust you with your money that you earn. I trust you with the beliefs that you want to believe and what you want to say. First Amendment. I trust you to defend yourself and defend those that you love. Second Amendment. I think it speaks volumes. I think it speaks volumes that politicians go to people and say, I think that you're smart enough. I think that you are talented enough. You don't need me to keep giving you government handouts. You don't need a government phone. I will make sure that the playing field is open for everybody. And that you have equal opportunity. The outcome is up to you. I have faith in you. You take it as far as you want. You want to take it as far as just being a night shift manager and you're happy with that? Your choice. I love you for it. Do what you need to do. If someone says, you know what, I want to be a CEO. Bravo, go for it. So, I think that speaks volumes at the end of the day. If we do a stream together with who? With me? I don't think you dumb anything down, Mitch. Sorry, I'm just reading chat here. Turn on TTS. All right. As long as you guys behave. All right. I don't want to have to turn it off again. All right. Here we go. Let me make sure my volume's up.
C0NNIE says, the only white pill in all of this is there are still people that see through it. Troll TKST says, it's the Jews' fault why we're in this.
No, it's not. Stop that.
LMAO.
I said behave, guys. Come on.
Mitch says, behave yourselves.
Come on, be nice.
TKST says, they need to be physically removed.
Stop, troll. I'm gonna disable TTS for trolls if you keep doing that. No, but I mean, seriously, like, I feel that a lot of people, there's been a big appeal towards people like Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Milo Yiannopoulos, because they have come out and they're going, facts, this is what really matters. Truth, this is what really matters. Science, biology, this is what really matters. So I think that's a compelling message. And it doesn't mean that they're all going to be the same level of conservatives, or they're all going to be, exactly the same in their beliefs. But it says,
garbage pundits.
Well, maybe not. I don't necessarily think that they're garbage
Opad
pundits.
says, made pundits obey a odd word.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that there's good and bad in what they do. I think that it has opened the eyes of a lot of people in the sense that in how they were, and they still are, being censored and shut
Soldat
down.
says, update on Trump rallies. Cocaine Mitch says, pundits are the og grifters.
Yeah, in a way. So President Trump's doctors say POTUS will be medically cleared by Saturday, 5 full days before the originally scheduled debate in Miami on October 15th. CPD must stop protecting Joe Biden and allow the event to proceed as it was agreed 2 months ago.
Says, they are grifters imo.
I agree. I agree that the CPD should just stop interfering with this election. There are plenty of pundits that are grifters. There are. There plenty are. I think like of all these pundits, I do think that Steven Crowder does a really good job because he doesn't just talk. He actually has a lot of good production value that he does in his videos, but he also provides sources. Like all of his opinions and everything that he talks about, he provides a large amount of sources and research behind what he says. While Ben Shapiro, for example, I think it's a mix. I think Ben Shapiro injects a lot of his opinion into things, even though his opinions generally do match up with facts, but he doesn't generally have a lot of facts or research that back up what he claims. He does and he doesn't.
Z0NNIE says at the eternal abyss, what race is Dan Bongino? Me and Dad argue about it.
I don't know. Actually, I really don't know, and honestly, I know the guy. He's going into surgery because he has a neck tumor.
Says, isn't he Italian?
Bongino, I believe, is Italian.
He's a very dark Sicilian, a fake.
Yeah, I think he's Italian or Sicilian. Yeah, Bongino is an Italian last name, so at least he's partially Italian. I don't know from what region of Italy his family is from, but you could have some pretty tanned Italians, especially Sicilians. For sure. Yeah, I heard he has a tumor.
Says, Bongino looks like a Dominican relief pitcher.
It might be the haircut, Zani. I think it might be the haircut that gives that impression. No, I mean he not saying that Dominicans have bad haircuts. I'm just saying that really short crew cut with the shape of his face, I think it does make you kind of think that. In terms of his features, he does look a little Dominican. But I heard he has like a tumor on his neck and he's getting surgery for it. So prayers to him, thoughts and prayers. I hope everything goes well. He's a cool guy. I like listening to what he says on Twitter. He's a fiery guy. He's a very fiery guy. He's very entertaining. Bongino is pretty cool. I don't have any issues.
That says, with regards to Shapiro, he's way too moderate. Besides that, he only reacts to the media narrative as opposed to dictating what the narrative will be, which Trump admin tries to do. Z0NNIE says, I like watching him tfo Geraldo on Hannity almost every night.
Yeah, I love it when Bongino basically just dunks on Geraldo. It is pretty damn funny. Every time I've seen it, I just laugh so hard. Yeah, we live, sir.
Troll Fiac says, I'm not black, I'm Italian. Seriously, can you get any dumber? Bongino on Twitter. Mitch says, Shapiro plays to the leftists cause he cares more about his shitty Newsweek article than actually seeing any conservatives win.
I don't know if I agree with that.
The fucking guy was telling people not to vote for ROIY more in 2017.
I think the problem with
TKST says, Geraldo is the biggest shill for the left even after shown proof of that crap they said.
Yeah, Geraldo is terrible. in his reporting in general. I find he's doesn't do a good job at all. But GMAC on Periscope, yes sir, I am live. Is the video not working on Periscope?
Cocaine Mitch, that's the only thing I agreed with him on.
I am live right now,
Cocaine
sir.
Mitch says he cares about pro-life but then helps Doug Jones, who believes in partial birth abortions, win AL Senate.
Well, I think that's the problem with Ben Shapiro. He's very much a quote-unquote principled conservative on paper.
Shapiro NNIE says Shapiro was a big never-Trumper and wanted a neocon like Rubio.
Oh, Shapiro still is.
Soldat, fuck that. Roy Moore would have brought a gun on the Senate floor.
No, Shapiro is still very much a never-Trumper. Shapiro, this is the one thing that he cannot be rational or logical or factual when it comes to Trump. That is something that gets under his skin.
Says at Cocaine Mitch, I liked the guy that lost in the primaries. Blanking on his name, RN. Cocaine Mitch says Shapiro said he is gonna vote Trump from TN when he moves, I guess. Troll
Oh, really?
He says, watch Alabama, it's going to be a seat to take back.
But I think with Ben Shapiro, he's going to hold his nose with Trump because he does not like Trump.
Jones is DOA. Troll TKST says, Shapiro is a Jew, that's all you need to know about him, also a manlet. Cocaine Mitch says at Soldat Luther, whatever his name was, or Mo Brooks, who was the best choice. Soldat says at Cocaine
Mo
Mitch,
Brooks,
Mo
yeah.
Brooks. Troll TKST says, he got bullied by a tranny Shapiro. Cocaine Mitch says at Soldat, yeah, I like Mo Brooks too.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing about Shapiro. Like, to me, Shapiro is a very principled conservative in the sense that he portrays his beliefs in a very structured and strict way. Like, this is my conservative beliefs. This is what they are. They're very uncompromising. But
Soldat
then,
says,
in practice,
him and other moderates have gotten, advocating for Trump now.
I wouldn't call Shapiro moderate, though. I wouldn't call Shapiro moderate. I think Shapiro is very much a conservative. The problem with Shapiro is that he is very much a kind of like those traditional Republican conservatives, where, as you said,
Shapiro responded to getting bullied by a tranny in the most Jew lawyer way possible.
And I think that his way of responding to like people like Trump and like these really populist conservatives movements is, I don't think he knows how to handle that.
He's the bad kind of conservative.
I think that Shapiro has done some good things for the conservative movements.
Those Sicilians are shifty. Troll ZZZZ says, Shapiro called Malkin anti-Semitic. Soldat says, Shapiro absolutely is a moderate. He isn't conservative. He opposes everything we do on the right and is more comfortable with neocons like Bill Kristol.
But that's what I mean. He's more of a traditional Republican conservative. I don't think that, and he is a principled, quote, Republican,
says,
a principled conservative.
He's just an Israel kook, obviously.
No, he's not moderate, because in principle, if you look at his conservative principles, like when he puts forward what his conservative beliefs are, he's very much he's more conservative than moderate.
On foreign policy.
But he is very much a Republican. That's his problem.
Not a conservative.
He is very much a Republican.
Cocaine Mitch says, principaled conservative who said not to vote for a Republican for AL Senate.
Yeah, because to him, it was more important to be a principled Republican than to put someone who's conservative. I'm going to disable TTS for a second so I can make my point. That's what I'm saying, is like, to him, it was more important to have a principled victory. He didn't care about the victory. He wasn't pragmatic. He preferred losing on principle because he didn't have the kind of Republican that he wanted. It wasn't too much a conservative problem, it was a Republican problem. Exactly. No, that's my whole point, Cocaine. He would rather lose on principle, because to him the principle of conservatism is more important. That's why, to me, he's not really a true conservative. He's only a, quote, conservative in principle, but he's pretty much a Republican. It's called ego. Exactly. Exactly, cocaine. That is what I'm talking about. He has he's more concerned about his ego and a conservative talking point than actually having someone who's conservative in office to actually put forth what you're talking about. Because his principles are not pragmatic. His principles don't translate into real life. He has a lot of these lofty ideals of conservatism. But in reality, conservatism isn't just these lofty ideals. The lofty ideals are good on paper, and if you want to have a dissertation, if you want to have it's kind of like having a theological debate about something. It's great to have a theological debate, but then how do you translate that theological ideals and philosophies into actual real life? And I think that's why more populist conservative values that are more practical, and that's why rhinos, and that's why these Republicans that say they're conservatives, like Kasich, these guys aren't really conservative at the end of the day, because it's they're using conservatism as kind of a soapbox, but then they capitulate because they aren't real true conservatives. So I can understand why you say that he is more moderate than conservative. I would say that he's a cross between moderate and conservative. I wouldn't say he's a moderate, though. He is more conservative than moderate, but he's very much like your traditional Republican. No, 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 no. Crystal and Shapiro are not in the same. They're not in the same category. No. Well, that's what I mean about being principled. See, he focuses so much on the principle of being a conservative that he's not looking at what real conservative values are. That's what I mean about there's this disconnect between this kind of ideal that he has of what conservatism means versus the reality of what conservatism is. There's a
Okay, Mitch
disconnect.
says he focuses on telling you to buy his shitty book.
Yeah, and his leftist tears Tumblr. Speaking of shameless self promotion, hey, this is a great point for me to shamelessly self promote myself. So, if you like what I'm doing, buy me a coffee. ko-fi.com/the eternal abyss. It's right on the screen right there. And if you prefer cryptocurrency,
Mitch says, segue.
you can do that as well. Yes, sir. Nice segue. And of course, even better than a coffee and better than cryptocurrency or any money that you may or may not want to give me, followers are the best thing you can do. Help me get more followers, help me get more viewers, help me grow on all the platforms that I'm on all social media, Twitter, Gab, Parlay, Minds, Float. They're all on screen there, but you can also help me on YouTube, Periscope, DLive, Twitch, Float, Bitwave. All these platforms. Just share, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bells or notification icons and whatever platform has them, and just support me. That's the best thing you can do.
Cocaine Mitch says, remember chat. When Abyss grows, our chat will disappear from his stream.
No, sir. No, sir. I plan on staying on Bitwave for as long as Dispatch will have me. This was the first platform I was on, and I plan on staying here as long as I can, as long as I'm doing my stream.
Says, chat will get Epsteined.
No. No, no, no. I heart chat. I wouldn't do that to chat. No way, kids. That's not gonna happen. I would not abandon chat.
Good job. Z0NNIE says at the Eternal Abyss, did you see that the NBA is having to stop the SJW nonsense because of record low ratings?
Oh yeah, I've seen that, Zoni.
If Abyss gets big time, I am gonna hold his IP for half the money.
Dang it, Dispatch.
Troll Fiac says at Cocaine Mitch 30%.
Come on. Have mercy, guys. Oh, really? Yeah.
Cocaine Mitch says at Troll Fiak.
See,
Zero NNIE
this
says,
is funny to me because
NFLW LeBron, KD, and Steph retire within 5 years and the NBA is dominated by white Europeans.
I don't know about that. All I can say is the NBA has learned the lesson that the NFL has not.
Cocaine Mitch says at Z0 Nedonic is the future.
I think it's very interesting that the NBA has learned their lesson, while the NFL has not. They deserve the low ratings. I honestly, even if they change, I'm not gonna watch them, and I invite people not to watch them. They don't deserve the fan base and the money coming back to them. Not after what they did. They essentially spat in the face of their fans.
NFL stopped the BLM stuff and filming the kneeling after week 1. They learned.
No, but they still allowed them to kneel. And they started playing the black national anthem, whatever the freaking hell that is. So no, they really haven't learned. They really haven't learned, and sports companies like Nike, they still support people like Kaepernick, and they sports and they.
Mitch says, but they don't show any of it on TV. Is my point.
They may not show it on TV, but people know it's happening. And as long as the NFL still supports it and still actively engages in it, even if they don't show it on TV, nobody's going to watch. In fact, the NFL has had a huge drop in ratings as well.
If the stadium is empty and it's not on TV.
Well, I care in principle. Since we're speaking about conservative principles, I care in principle. And I am not gonna watch the NFL, and I'm gonna encourage people to not watch the NFL, as long as they keep doing that. Even if the stadium is empty, even if nobody sees them, they shouldn't be doing it. Period. It's a spit in the face of all their fans. I don't agree with that. I'm gonna stand firm on this one. I don't agree with that. And I still tell, and like I'm saying, yeah, okay, the NBA is going to change that. They're going to keep it off the floor.
Says, I watch via illegal channels so they get no money.
There you go. See, that's the best solution right there, Cocaine. Mitch. That's the best solution right there. But for the record, I am not encouraging people to do things illegally. If you're going to watch everything legitimately, legally, do everything correctly. Don't break any laws. Don't do any sort of copyright or infringement or piracy.
Says, and buy knockoff Indonesia jerseys.
Buy American, Mitch. What are you doing?
Mitch says, Tom Bradley is my favorite player. Troll ZZZZ says at Cocaine Mitch Rest Ream.
There used to be this one website that I used to go to all the time to watch like European soccer games because they never showed anything here. I don't know what happened to that website. I don't even remember it anymore, to be honest with you. But it was pretty cool because it actually worked.
Says, I want to see Dispatch get hit by some heavyweight claims.
You want ESPN to come down on Dispatch? Oh, come on. Why? You don't want to do that.
Z0NNIE says, Doncic, Portuguese, Harrow, Gallinari, Fournier, Bogdanovic bunch of white future all-stars in their first couple seasons. Once the old stars retire, the NBA will be a bunch of cracker-ass honkies. Cocaine Mitch says at Troll ZZZZ.
Wow, really? Yelp is doing that? What pieces of shit. So Yelp is putting out this consumer alert now on their business pages. So when a business gains attention for reports of racist conduct, Yelp will place a new business accused of racist behavior alert on Yelp page to inform users, along with a link to the news article where they can learn more. So you don't.
Says, Yelp is excited for the upcoming lawsuits.
So they don't even have to. So they don't even have to be guilty of any sort of racist behavior. Someone could just make up a claim.
Soldat says, truth doesn't matter, only accusations.
Exactly. So it doesn't even matter if someone was really racist or not.
Some businesses.
Okay.
Troll3 says, that alert is going to backfire.
Okay, well,
Cocaine Mitch says, Yelp is gonna be sued AF.
can we...
Soldat says at Troll ZZZZ.
So here's the question. Does Yelp have a profile for themselves? You may know where I'm going with this.
Cocaine Mitch says at Troll ZZZZ lotta Uncle Tom businesses out there.
Well, I mean, because if Yelp has a profile for their own business,
says, this is going to fuck the already fucked restaurant industry. Soldat says, Google reviews.
See, this is the problem. Yelp already screwed over reviews once because they had a horrible algorithm. They're gonna ruin online reviews permanently if they actually go ahead and do this. This is a very, very, very bad decision on the part of Yelp. This is very bad. This is very, very bad.
Cocaine Mitch says, as a proud black man, this black-owned business is clearly racist against working blacks and Jews. Do NFT eat here?
Yeah. This is gonna backfire spectacularly. This is really not gonna be good. Absolutely not good. Yelp just opened themselves up to a slew of lawsuits. They just opened themselves to a slew of abuse by users. And honestly, if you can find a Yelp business page on Yelp, I think you're gonna find. My prediction is this: you're gonna find a lot of reports on Yelp being racist. That's just my opinion, but I think that's gonna happen. And honestly, you know, if I perceive any sort of discrimination on the part of a company, say maybe it's a Google, maybe it's a Facebook, maybe it's a Starbucks, maybe it's a whatever lefty company is.
It goes to the larger philosophical debate on principled conservatism and stating facts when costs like Yelp don't care about that. They only care about atoning for mythical sins for the cult of anti-racism. Definitely not FBI says, Yelp tried to send me to a business that closed almost a year ago due to embezzlement and forging contracts to sell security equipment.
Wow. No kidding. Definitely not the FBI. Holy crap. But you're absolutely spot on, Soldat. I agree with that. It's very much virtue signaling. It's all about virtue signaling. It's all about saying, see, look what we're doing to try and atone for the racism that exists in this country that's systemic, that really doesn't exist. But we're doing this because we're such good people. Look how awesome and virtuous we are. Please. It's a joke. It's a joke. And they should be sued out of oblivion. I will create an entity. I will create an LLC. And I will rent an office. I will actually, if you people support me on this, I will do this. I will go ahead and create a company and an entity, register it, get a brick and mortar on it, and I want to see if I get any sort of racist reviews on it. And if I get a label like that from Yelp, I am going to sue the ever-living snot out of them. I want to see if that would happen. We should do a GoFundMe for this.
That says, it's not a joke, it's a prototype. Big Tech is gonna introduce a social credit system.
Yes, that's exactly what this is.
I will write a racist review.
Thank you, Mitch. I know I can count on you. No, but that's exactly what it is. That is exactly what's going on. Soldat, you nailed it right on the frickin' head.
Anonymity will be more important than ever.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, definitely not the FBI. Soldat, you just nailed it on the head. This is basically what's happening in China. It's a social credit score. It's it's trying to use your power as a company, or in the case of government entities, to try and subjugate its people to act and behave in a certain way. It is absolutely a social credit score. It is disgusting. This sort of thing should not be happening in the United States. And this should not be implemented on other platforms like Google or Facebook or Twitter or what the hell have you. Any website that has reviews, especially for like event industry or restaurants or all sorts of businesses that really rely on reviews. Word of mouth is very important for certain businesses.
Soldat says, dating apps are doing this too. Troll ZZZZ says, we already have a social credit system.
Dating apps are doing this? How are dating apps doing that? We don't really have a social credit score.
KST says, they won't be doing shit after second term. They will say bye-bye to Section 230 protections.
Yes, I really want that to happen. I really want that to happen. I want these tech companies to be liable for the shit that's on their websites.
Troll ZZZZ says, the entire monetary system is a social credit system if you think about it.
Yes and no. I mean, I don't agree with that. ZZZZ. I think that, the fact, like right now, that's what certain companies have been doing though. You have had Chase Bank, you have had PayPal, you've had companies that are trying to do that. They're trying to prevent you from having your own money, like withdrawing your own money and using their services, like Gab, for example. You have MasterCard, and I think it's Visa and MasterCard have pretty much said we're not going to do credit card processing for you. That is very much in line with social credit systems. Companies are trying to do that. These woke SJW companies are trying to do that.
Twitter and others have badges that show if you're a voter, if you're socially distanced, etc. And when I think about it, it probably impacts the algorithm.
Okay. I can see that. I can see why a dating app would do that.
Dating apps are Jewish, though stay away from them.
I mean, nowadays, a lot of people use these dating apps, though.
TKST says, they encourage race mixing and degeneracy.
Well, how do you suppose to meet people in this day and age, though? I mean, traditional dating is pretty much dead. You don't really go out and meet people anymore. And I'm not even talking about COVID issues. I'm talking about, generally speaking, how it's difficult for people to meet people face to face.
Troll TKST says, the church. Troll TKST says, the old-fashioned way. Cocaine Mitch says, I met my wife through a dating site.
I don't know. I think that, unfortunately,
Cocaine Mitch says, cause I am lazy.
I think it.
Nightly Noth FBI says, that was meant for the church. Cocaine Mitch says, and shy IRL.
I think.
Says at Definitely Noth FBI I know.
I think that nowadays, the problem is that it's far more difficult to meet people, even in church or in social gatherings. Not because of COVID or anything. I think it's just been something that's been going on for a long time because it's with the way technology has been moving with social media and all this kind of stuff, it's made it more difficult for people, especially younger generations, to have face-to-face interactions with people. And especially when you do that sort of thing that Soldat is talking about in apps, where you're basically a collection of slogans and badges.
It's only a matter of time until Facebook uses information to censor PPL who vote against something like Prop 8, or vote for an anti-abortion candidate.
Well, they're already doing that, though. they're already making political choices about what they decide to show, what they decide not to show. They're making their own judgment calls on what they deem as factual and what is not, which is not like actually factual. They're making their own decisions. So they're already implementing this kind of Orwellian 1984, you must comply with what we say is the truth, not what is the truth. And that's a big problem. But when it comes to the dating thing, the biggest problem is that for a long time, you had this move to digital media, this less face-to-face communication, and people have become like a smattering of slogans and badges and, what they support and they don't support.
Says, but so far, it's with publishing material, this would be tipping the scales on how to vote. Definitely not FBI says, I understand. I've been tempted to use one for a while since I haven't found shit for people worth dating myself and shit isn't set up like it used to be.
Yeah.
Also, I get really suspicious of putting my data in public.
I would be suspicious as well. I mean, I think that if you're going to do online dating, it may be my suggestion to people is this: if you want to do online dating, make sure that you use a reputable website first of all, and a reputable app, a company that is reputable, but also use one where I think it's more targeted towards what you're looking for. So it makes more sense to me because if you're just going to use Tinder, for example, Tinder's like a hookup app. There's virtually there's no filters and even there's so many dating apps out there that it's just
says, a reputable site like JDate.
JDate.
Soldat says,
I've never heard of JDate. Is that for Jewish people? No, but I mean, it's if you're going to
ZZZZ says, I had success just with meetup.com personally. Cocaine Mitch says at definitely not by Bitwave JDate browsing stream when?
Yes, stream that.
Mitch says, it has a lot of big noses.
Oh, stop, Mitch.
Definitely not by says at Cocaine Mitch von Eben tried it but found out it costs shekels to use.
Oh, thwarted by the paywall. Oh, that's a shame.
Mitch says at definitely not by even to browse. Cocaine Mitch says, JFC.
Phone Bone streamed that for real? That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. No, but see, that's what I mean. It's like, if it turns into just a hot or not thing where you're just swiping right or left, and there's virtually no actual like substance behind what you're looking at, that's where to me dating sites and apps are a problem. But instead, if you use a site that actually has more substance to it, you can actually talk to people, actually interact with people.
Number, fuck you, Mitch. Stop stealing my ideas.
That's what I mean about dating sites and apps. I would suggest if you're going to do that, be mindful of the apps that you use, and be mindful of where your data is going, and be mindful of the app's functionality as well. I mean, if it's
says, if you have found yourself on a dating app, that's quite desperate.
I wouldn't call it desperate. I think that nowadays a lot of people find that that's the easiest way to meet people because there's a lot less pressure. It's much more at whatever pace you're at, and you don't have to put yourself in a bar or in a place and just kind of wait it out. Yeah, this is terrible what Yelp is doing. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me that Yelp would do something so stupid.
Definitely not says, I wouldn't want to pick up a barfly anyways. Cocaine Mitch says, I used eHarmony and found a woman who screamed at a TV with Obama on it. You're a dirty Muslim in public.
Oh my god.
Cocaine Mitch says,
holy cow. You got quite the energetic soulmate, don't you? Woo! Goodness me. That was unexpected. No, listen. I see. I'm not gonna shame anybody into using a if they use a dating app to find their bride or
Cocaine Mitch
husband.
says, no lies detected.
Yeah. Um.
Definitely not FBI says, I would go to church but younger people barely go to church anyways and the new age churches that attract younger people aren't the kind of churches I want to frequent.
I wouldn't frequent them as well. No, and that's what I mean about going to churches. Is not. I mean, and the thing is this: like for me as a Catholic, I don't go to church to date. Like I go to church to worship, to have a moment with God. That's why I go to church. I don't go to church because I'm like, oh, let's see what single Phillies are around here. I don't really do that.
Cocaine Mitch says at definitely not FBI church won't be a place to meet someone till the next generation. It passed us by.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. I think it's best to just put yourself out there. You're not gonna meet anybody by staying home. That's the first thing. You do need to be social. You need to get out there.
Says, my generation is shit.
Well, trust me, a lot of generations are shit. It's not just one or two.
Says, I hate this clown world.
There's a lot of this. There's a lot of stuff about this world that's frustrating.
Church is a great place to meet someone who shares your worship and blessings for God, though.
And that is true, cocaine, Mitch. That's true. I agree that you will. Well, depends. In theory, yes, church is a good place to meet like-minded people. But you would also find that in church there's a lot of non-like-minded people.
Overhead says, Amen AI.
What? Oh, amen. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, I think, hey, I mean, if it happens that you meet someone nice in church and you develop a relationship with them, great.
Says, I believe sharing beliefs is the most important factor.
It's definitely an important factor. It's definitely an important factor. I mean, that's the foundation of a relationship is if you share beliefs, especially when kids come into view. See, it's more important to share beliefs when you have kids because two people that don't entirely agree on everything, you can get along and have a relationship with them.
Says, it's biblical.
But when you have kids involved, that's where you have disputes because then you have a disagreement on how you raise the kids, and that usually is where relationships end.
Troll MZL3 says, Yelp, the new business accused of racist behavior alert is an extension of our public attention alert that we introduced in response to a rise in social activism surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement.
Oh, fuck them. God. Yelp is such a piece of shit. Anyways, where's a good place where you could find dates? There's this website. I don't know if it's active anymore, but this used to be this website called Trump Singles. You want to find like-minded people? That's where you go. I'm kidding, of course.
Says, you can learn to love anyone, but if you don't share beliefs, the relationship is doomed.
Well, shared beliefs definitely reinforces a relationship. I think shared beliefs definitely creates a strong bond. And like if both husband and wife go to church and worship in the same faith and have the same beliefs overall, that's definitely a positive thing. That's definitely a positive thing, and I'm not going to sneeze at that. It's definitely something that it's good. And it's not just beliefs, it's also culture. Shared cultures generally do better in relationships than incredibly diverse cultures. That's why I was saying earlier, when you have this opposites attract kind of myth, it's not really true. There may be some attraction to something that's more exotic or different, but it's only a temporary thing. It's more of a flash in the pan sort of thing. So it makes more sense that if you're looking for something permanent and long term and have kids and and to instill your values and culture with another person and this child, if children come into the world, then it makes much more sense to have something that's shared. Absolutely.
Soldat says, yet, its way interracial marriages often fail. Definitely not by says, Trump date sounds like an offshoot of J date. Soldat says, why asterisk?
Well, I don't know if there's a Trump date. I knew that a while ago there was Trump singles. Maybe there is a Trump date too. I have no idea. No clue. But all I can say is this: like my recommendation for dating, and Lord knows I probably shouldn't be the one giving any sort of advice when it comes to that sort of thing because I'm not married.
Overhead says,
But
patriarchs hold beliefs that are strong. They will never die. Definitely not by says, whatever you said.
But basically, what I would recommend is if you want to meet people, you got to get out there first of all. If you don't want to use a dating app.
Says, if I can get married and have a kid, says.
There you go. Hope for the rest of us, right, Mitch?
Thanks, friend.
Mitch gives us hope. No, I would say that get out there. You need to get out there, and if you need to find if you need to find like-minded people, you're gonna have to go out and seek places where you'll find those like-minded people. If frequenting churches, if that happens, if there's this age range of people that you're looking for. Even political stuff right now, like I'm kidding a little bit about the Trump stuff.
Abyss, you should infiltrate Antifa and hook up with a crazy commie chick.
No. I think that it's best.
Says, you can even pitch it as a reality TV show.
I think it's best if I keep my junk out of crazy. I think that's a general rule of thumb.
Will let him in dry.
Oh, stop. No, I think it's a good rule of thumb to not get involved in crazy.
Says, reform the commies.
They probably string me up by the balls. I don't think it's a good idea if they find out that I'm a Trump supporter. No.
Definitely not by says, with your dick.
That's an interesting way of reforming people. I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Overhead says. Soldat says.
Oh boy. I think someone needs to screenshot that so I can put it up in my gallery. I think that's a good one. Anyway. I think that's a good note to end the stream on. No, but my advice, I'll give this final advice and then we'll end the stream. No, you just need to go out, get out there. You need to get out there. You need to get out there and try and find like-minded people. If that's your goal, if your goal is to have a serious long-term relationship with people, that's what you should do. And if there are some reputable apps that can help you do that. You guys are just making me laugh with chat. If there are reputable apps out there that you can use for that goal, then I say make sure that you use good apps for that. You don't want to just go to any random willy-nilly app because there's data concerns, there's other concerns. But I say use available tools.
Says, great, so now Mick looks like the small dick.
We're here for you, Mitch. We love you, man. And with that, we're gonna conclude the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for everybody on all the different platforms. Dab, yes sir, my friend. Thank you guys so much. Remember, kids, we only have a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks here. I mean, thank you, sir. Thank you. We only have a couple weeks left. Remember, kids, don't be complacent. Get out there, vote, show your support. Let's get Trump another 4 years. Let's flip the House. Let's make sure the Senate stays red and gets a strong red. Let's make sure the House flips red. Go out there. Don't be complacent. Thank you, kids. We'll see you tomorrow. Get your coffee ready for tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Thanks Abyss.
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys. I'm going to turn TTS off here. Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow morning.